Of high drama at the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan yesterday. And this is both the Speaker, Jonathan Lawack, and Mayor Athol Trollip were ousted following successful motions of no confidence brought by the opposition. The move displayed an apparent rift with the DA caucus in the Metro as the motion to remove Lawack became successful after one DA councillor abstained from voting, and that tipped the scale in favour of the opposition. Trollip was later removed without a single DA councillor in the chamber, and the UDM's Mongameli Bobani has since been elected mayor. But the DA has since indicated that they will challenge yesterday's developments, saying the election of the new office bearers is illegal. So to unpack this story for us, we join now by political analyst Ongama Mtimka, and he is in our Port Elizabeth studios. Ongama, good morning and welcome to Morning Live once again.
Morning, Sakina, and Morning Live viewers.
So I think very aptly described as a day of high drama in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. And but this was, quite some time in the making. There have been talks, there have been motions unsuccessfully so previously to remove Athol Trollip. So what changed yesterday?
It seemed that the opposition parties had an ace up their sleeves, so they were able to play what we would call in strategy a surprise attack by having one person, Councillor Victor Manyati, voting with the opposition. And that was important because it dealt away with the speaker position initially, and in so doing would take away the potential of a pro-coalition government speaker to cast a casting vote in the subsequent motions. And that's why the DA then resorted to the measure of, I think it's unprecedented, firing somebody from a council meeting immediately during the council meeting in which they had started as a due representative of the party. And that's what started introducing legal ambiguities in the council proceedings yesterday.
So before we get into the legalities, what does this turn of events mean for the DA? Well, one big lesson for them is that political coalition governments have among their key success factors the ability to manage political relationships. And Nelson Mandela Bay, for me, is an example of the failure of that. Secondly, the Democratic Alliance, when it had options to come out of the political stalemate, it took one step, like, for example, secure a coalition partner, and failed to consolidate their position by ensuring that that coalition partner is given either a strong and powerful position which they are bargaining for, so that they can continue to support the party. So throughout the coalition, they have had very sometimes strategically dubious moves where you secure a partner here, you fail to consolidate your position, and therefore continue to make yourself vulnerable to a change. And I hope that they, as well as these new one seat, two seat political parties that have gotten into council, they understand that this is managing political relationships going forward becomes part of the key success factors as much as presiding over the administration. Now to the legalities of the situation. The Democratic Alliance, of course, coming out saying they will be returning to office this morning because whatever happened yesterday was, in fact, illegal. They also raised the question of whether the council was actually correct yesterday when those elections took place. So from that perspective, the legality of it, was that a legal proceeding yesterday following the walkout of the DA councillors?
Well, that question hinges a lot on whether it was acceptable for the Democratic Alliance from a due process point of view to fire the councillor immediately while council was in session. That's the first one. Secondly, and I think related to that one, the acting municipal manager, Johan Metler, the acting speaker, according to the Structures Act, then declared a vacancy immediately. Now, at that time, he had the letter from the Democratic Alliance and a letter from the councillors' legal advisors opposing the intention of the DA to fire the councillor. And he then exercised judgment on the process, on the two letters in front of him by declaring a vacancy, notwithstanding the letter of the legal counsel of Manyati. But and then after the DA had walked out of council, he declared that the meeting did not have a quorum and therefore could not continue. And remember, Tsepiso, the only basis that he could stop the council meeting according to the law is when obviously there's no quorum, or secondly, when there is a deadlock in voting for the new speaker. Otherwise, he's not allowed to postpone the meeting, to adjourn the meeting, except by a deadlock. So it hinged on this decision to declare a vacancy. Apparently, when he had left, he sent a message to one of the ANC councillors saying that he intended to retract the declaration of the vacancy, which effectively weakens the case that Victor Manyati no longer had the right to represent the DA, and in fact paves the way for the ANC to claim that the council meeting was duly constituted, because also the law does allow for the MSC of local government in the province to send a representative to preside over the council meeting when the municipal manager is not available. The questions whether that not available means not employed at all within a council or not available at a certain time to preside over proceedings, that will be where the interpretation issue gets to be. Otherwise, without that and without Manyati's firing accepted from a due process point of view, they have a lost cause.
So just looking at it, and you touched on the question of coalitions and how volatile that situation can become. And what happens now, you know, given that we have seen various motions of no confidence being brought in this particular council, do you think that perhaps like the Gauteng ANC was saying, we should be going to elections to get a fresh mandate, perhaps, in Nelson Mandela Bay at this point?
In fact, Sakina, I'm busy writing a paper in which one is questioning whether there shouldn't be a minimum threshold in terms of the ability to constitute a coalition government in a municipal council. It seems to be the case that a simple majoritarian principle is failing the people of these cities, because, I mean, in a simple majority principle, just 50 plus 1 seat makes it. And in this case, out of 120 councillors, 61 carry the day or the motion. It doesn't seem to be sustainable based on experience. And I think maybe it's time to explore that. And going to an election might, so if the DA, for example, is able to successfully challenge this, they will go back to having 60 seats, and the ANC and the coalition, and the new coalition will have 60 seats, which means there will be a deadlock. And currently, there won't be a speaker that is partisan, because if this is nullified, the outcome from yesterday, it will mean that the municipal manager, who is an administrator and is not partisan and therefore cannot pass a casting vote, it means this might well go on to administration.
And of course, just finally, in the bigger scheme of things, what does this mean for the residents of that metro?
On the one level, municipalities operate on the basis of separation of responsibilities between the three arms of government, be they council, two arms effectively, council and the administration. There is an existing budget that is approved. So from that end, it is the municipal administration has got mandate to execute service delivery. Where the challenge may be is with approving things at committee level and approving things at council, and those things pertain to, for example, land use management issues, and so that has potential to stifle the property development sector and other functions that need council approval. That's where the challenge will be.
Ongama Mtimka, thanks so much for your insights this morning. And talk about precarious. That's the situation in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro this morning. And thanks to Ongama Mtimka, political analyst, and talking about the removal of the DA, Mayor and Speaker in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. Your views always welcome at Morning Live SABC. You can hit us up and tell us what you think about all of that. Let's take a quick break.